Now we're raising the car so that we can get the trailer and the tow bar to meet. But Mum has decided to take the sticks with him. Not allow. Come on, Ramu, they need that stick.
Rami! Don't stand too close.
Now we've got the ramp effect for attempt number 3. We're going to wind up the wheel. Does the wood hold it?
There's probably only a handful of days in your whole life that you can look back on
Everybody's holding their breath.
and know that that was a pivotal day. It was like a fork in the road. For us, today is that day.
It's looking good.
We've been planning this road trip for years and years.
I think they've finally done it.
It really doesn't matter what happens from this day onwards. We'll be able to look back and go that, you know, that was the day that our whole lives changed forever.
See you, Steve. Yeah, it's not a bad size.
Yeah, we've brought the producers out of it.
King brown snake in the toilet.
Another little fishy, eh?
What a long day.
Yeah, they're always. Yeah,
Hare Krishna. First met Steve in 1991. I was working in a photocopying business. That first year together, Steve and I saved pretty much every cent that we could and ended up buying a Hilux 4-wheel drive. So by the end of 1992, we took our first trip together to the Northern Territory and was the first of many trips for us.
Saying hello. Obviously loving every second of it. Tends to get a bit slippery, as you can see.
I finally met a girl that liked to get out in the bush, so things were looking pretty good.
When I was growing up and travelling with my family, we always stayed in nice hotels and that sort of thing. But I knew with Steve that was going to be a different reality.
Oh, he's just missed a walk.
That if he had the choice of going to a hotel or camping, that he would choose camping all the way.
No, I'd say it'd be about 35 and it's about 100% humidity. You've got no idea.
In 1998, we took 10 weeks off and went from Melbourne to Cape York and back in what was a 10,000 kilometre round trip.
Along the way, we actually started talking seriously about what if we did a big trip, what would it take for us to do that? And I suppose that was the first time that I'd ever really considered walking away from my corporate life.
Steve especially had made this wild dream that he was going to go do the whole of Australia.
I've always been talking about this trip, and as long as I can remember, and it was just one of those things that after a few years I thought, well, it's just talk, it's never going to happen.
We had lots of hoops to jump through before we had any chance of actually hitting the road, including the fact that we owned our own printing business, which we'd have to sell first.
I thought it was going to be a very hard thing for them to actually close that side of their lives to start this one.
It ended up taking almost 4 years to sell the business, which was longer than we anticipated. But on the positive side, we ended up having our first child, little girl Savannah.
Judy's got a little girl.
Originally, we figured we'd sell our business, take a year off to drive around Australia, come back and then have babies. But things don't always go to plan.
After we'd sold the business, we were in the handover phase. We discovered that we were having another baby. Lo and behold, another little girl, Sarah, was born, and she's a delight.
So with 2 young daughters to look after and very little money coming in, this really raised some questions about whether or not the trip was even viable. And in fact, some people even suggested it'd be pretty irresponsible to go at all.
Beautiful.
What happens if one of the kids gets sick? What are they going to do? Leave Steve out in the middle of nowhere with one baby and Jen flies back with the other? Or if the car breaks down, what are they going to do?
Little Sarah, still in nappies, will no doubt have to go through a lot of her training whilst in...
Whilst they're away.
That's right, and not in a normal situation, living in a tent, having toilets, if there are toilets around that are away from the tent. So
Jen holding her up, going, go.
Yeah.
I needed to prove it to myself and everyone else that there really was nothing to worry about. So I decided to take the girls camping just to see how they would go. I don't feel like it's irresponsible to take young kids on a camping road trip for a year. In fact, quite the opposite.
Sarah! Out you come. No.
Sarah's just a baby. She still wears a nappy. She still has an afternoon sleep.
Give your face a wash, won't we?
I've got enormous fears, you know, what if she falls in a hole? What if she wanders away? What if she gets eaten by a crocodile? What happens if she doesn't eat the right food and she's short for the rest of her life? You know, what if?
Hungry girl.
Kids these days end up seeing a lot of the world through a TV screen. Personally, I'd prefer to get them out into the world while they're still young and impressionable to have their own experiences.
Sarah having a lovely ride on the back there.
Kids are a lot more resilient than what you think.
Have they actually thought through it, or have they been so involved in the dream that really they haven't thought through this at all?
Smile, Sarah.
I knew for Savannah it would be really important for us to transition her out of her day-to-day life and kindy life into a travelling life. And so we arranged with her kindy teacher to have an official farewell.
Savannah's mummy and daddy are here because they're going to tell us all about your big trip on a four-wheel drive and a camper trailer. And we've got a...
Obviously in the planning of this trip we know that we're going to be around water a fair bit. So we've had them in swimming lessons for some time so that they've got that confidence. If anything was to happen by accident, you know, one of them fell in, they wouldn't panic in the water, and that would just give us enough time to get them out if that was the case.
I really want to build in some challenges into this trip besides travelling with kids and doing it without very much money. So what we're going to do is we're going to set ourselves the goal of getting to every state and every territory around Australia, and also going to all the extremes. That's the north and the south and the east and the western points of the continent, as well as the exact centre and the highest point at Mount Kosciuszko. Having these challenges, it's going to make for a lot more adventurous trip. It's going to get us off the beaten track and really make sure that we just really maximise the whole experience.
I've spent the last 15 years of my life, you know, wearing a suit and all of the palaver that goes with that. And now I'm going to be living out of a suitcase. How will I get it all in there?
Our plan is to travel clockwise around the whole country, but for the first 3 months we're just going to do a smaller trip up into New South Wales, across to Queensland and back down the coast until we get back to Melbourne at Christmas. Now what that's going to do is it'll give us a chance to see how the girls go, it'll give us a chance to see what gear we need and what we don't, and then when we come back through Melbourne we can offload all the extra gear that we haven't used yet and we won't need on the major trip around the country. Now there's no way we could get to where we want to go without a four-wheel drive, and we're taking our trusty 80 series Land Cruiser. It's about 15 years old, but we spent quite a bit of time and money setting it up for the trip. We've also had some help from some sponsors who've given us some gear to field test to see how it goes. Under the bonnet we're running a 6-cylinder turbo diesel, which is probably about the best engine for a trip like this. It'll give us plenty of power, but diesels are a lot more economical to run than petrol engines. We've installed a second battery for keeping the fridge going in the back of the car when the car's not running. We've installed an isolator switch, and what that does is it means that if the car's not running, the fridge can run off the second battery, but if that battery goes flat, the isolator switch stops this battery going flat. So this will always be available for starting. As much as we're going to be doing a fair bit of bush camping in this trip, it's not all going to be hardship. I've got to keep in mind I've got a wife and 2 young daughters that need to be looked after. So I've installed a shower unit under the bonnet here. Now what it is a heat exchanger, and that basically uses the heat from the water in the engine, or the coolant in the engine, to heat up water, which is being pumped through with this unit here. And so we have a nozzle here with a shower, we have a hose into a bucket of water or a creek or anywhere we can get water from, and we can have a nice hot shower in the bush. Talking to Jen about going bush camping, and she said that's no problem as long as she's got her own toilet. So I've managed to find this porta potty. It's just a second-hand one, but the owner promised me it had never been used. I actually hope by the end of our trip it's never been used either, because it's me that'll end up having to empty it. We're going to be tackling some pretty rough roads and tracks on this trip, so we're running Cooper tyres, and we've also installed ARB air lockers on the front and back diffs. Now the air lockers can be turned on from switches on the dashboard when we need it, so if we really get into the rough stuff off-road, or we're doing a creek crossing, or we're driving through some mud, we flick the air lockers on and we're getting the best possible traction that we can. We've also upgraded the suspension. We've got Old Man Emu springs and shockers, and they'll just give us more load carrying ability and better ride on road, and certainly when we're forward driving. Now, if somehow we do still manage to get bogged, then we've got a full recovery kit here to help us get out. We've got a shovel, we've got a high lift jack, we've got a tree trunk protector, a snatch strap, gloves, snatch block, shackles, chain, and even an X-jack, which goes in under the car and uses the exhaust to pump the car up, so you can put things under. If you're bogged in sand or something, you need to get some stuff under the wheels to get some traction. Of course, on the front of the car, we've got a 12,000 pound winch as well. So with all this, I can't really see us getting stuck. I'm taking a compressor so that we can keep the tyres at the right pressure, so that they're higher on the road and lower off the road. We've also got this plug tyre repair kit, so that if we get a puncture, I can have a crack at fixing it. I've never used one of these before, but they tell me they work pretty well, so no doubt 40-odd thousand kilometres we'll get a chance to give it a go. Now, at this end of the Land Cruiser, we're running an ARB steel bull bar and IPS spotlights for night driving. And at this end of the Land Cruiser, we've got a Kmart rear bar, which replaces the bumper bar. It carries a spare wheel, carries a jerry can, it's got a tow bar built into it, and adds a lot of strength to the back of the car. Under the back of the car, I've replaced a 45 litre back tank with a 166 litre long Ranger tank. Now that, with the 90 litres in the front, gives us over 250 litres of fuel on board, all of it stored safely under the car, and it gives us a range of about 1,500 kilometres between fill-ups. We've gone for this compact GPS from Garmin, which mounts well on the dashboard, but it also works well as a handheld, and it will also mount in our boat, so it's very versatile. We've also got a lot of maps from HEMA that cover the whole country, an atlas, so one way or another, I can't imagine that we're going to get lost. And when it comes to communications, you can't have too many gadgets. We've got these little UHF radios, which are just good for when we're out hiking. We've got a larger UHF radio in the car, which we'll use for talking to other vehicles. We've got a satellite phone, which will pretty much allow us to make phone calls from anywhere to anywhere. We've got our everyday mobile phones, which will work anywhere we're in phone range. And if all that fails, well, we can make smoke signals or do something else, but one way or another, we won't be able to touch. For a fridge, I've gone for the Waco CF80, and I've chosen this because it's big, but also because it's got a freezer and a fridge at the same time. Now, I think that's going to be good for us, because when we're out in remote areas, we can keep some frozen veggies and some frozen meat. At least we can heat it up and have a decent meal without just having tins and dried food all the time. When we're out bush camping for a while, we're going to need some power. So we've got a little Yamaha inverter generator and a couple of spare batteries. They'll help to run the fridge. They'll also help to run our laptops and mobile phones and lights and things. Of course, we've got a lot of gear to take with us, and we're taking a roof rack as well. We've got a Tradesman oval roof rack on the roof, and we'll use that for carrying lightweight stuff and things that we don't need very often. What was important was we actually had something behind us that would keep up. There aren't many caravans that you can take off serious rough roads, so we opted for a camper trailer. We had a pretty good look around at what the options were, and we ended up going for a Tambo, which is made here in Melbourne. Fitted our budget, which was a little over $10,000. Very heavy duty, very well made. We've come down to the factory and met the people that make them. Okay, well that'd be pretty handy to keep the lighting, because that would be a bit like a cave otherwise, wouldn't it?
Yes. So you can roll it up when you don't.
Oh, okay.
Or from the top you can totally remove it.
Okay, that's good. You can actually get into the trailer while you're inside the camper. It's got this little trap door under there, can you see that? You don't need to go outside in the weather if it's raining. Just you've got 6 really heavy duty leaves in the springs here, which is good. Pin through there, you can rotate that way, pivot that way. Fantastic for off-road. I think ours might need to be a bit wider. We've got the boat fuel container, which is thicker than that. I'm pretty happy with this as a camper trailer. The guys here look like they're very flexible as far as doing some of the alts that we want. They can do a boat rack, which actually fits on the top. They haven't got one here, but they assure me that's one of their options. This is going to be the one we end up going for. It's now only 2 weeks until we leave, and we still have a long list of things to get finished. It's the moment of truth to make sure it doesn't collapse. The camper trailer came with a small gas bottle, but we're putting a 9 kilo bottle on instead.
Got to paint it. Yep.
Meanwhile, Jen's busy getting the kitchen packed up and ready to go.
Somehow I've got to magically condense this entire kitchen into 2 tubs.
Another major hurdle we've had is how to finance the trip. We didn't have much money left over after we sold our business, and we've been saving every dollar we can for the past couple of years. We've had 2 garage sales in the last couple of months. This has raised nearly $4,000, which has helped a lot. It'll also reduce the amount of stuff we have to put into storage. If we live to a tight budget, we should have enough money to last us about a year to a year and a half. But if we run out, we'll just have to stop and work along the way. We finally found a home for the dustpan and brush.
Finally, this is the joy of travelling with babies, is that you need all of the baby paraphernalia, such as strollers.
Excuse me, Steve, would you like to rethink leaving?
That's it. God, we'll be here forever while he does his 4 million knots.
I was in Cub Scouts, you know.
I'm looking forward to being predominantly a full-time mum, and I know that the girls are looking forward to having me around as well. I know that's, you know, a constant source of excitement for Savannah is that, you know, mum will be around.
Bye-bye. We'll see you later. Bye-bye for now.
I think that's the best thing I admire about them both, is that they've dreamt about it and now they are actually going.
I knew we had too much stuff. The car's so heavy and the tow bar's so low that we can't get the trailer down to meet it.
What about if we put some blocks coming down?
Now we're raising the car so that we can get the trailer and the tow bar to meet. Okay, here we go. Do we go up the ramp? Does the wood hold it?
Well, we're off to a good start. Night 1, Catherine and Robbie's driveway.
Everybody's holding their breath.
We have lockdown.
We have lockdown. This is exciting. We're leaving the driveway. Yes, it goes. The whole lot, all goes. It's a mighty task to fit all the goods in the car.
One more bag.
Oh no! Just give it his.
What to get rid of?
We need it. Perhaps I can hold it.
I said you'll be nursing that one.
Okay, she's ready.
Okay, got my hat on now.
Good. Where's your designer beads, darling?
I'm beadless.
Oh, here comes the dog. Hopefully they'll clean him up and you won't have to worry about him. See you, Steve.
Hey, Sarah Bear. Back there. Can I say, oh, there you are. There's your beautiful, hang on, let's see if that, oh, here's the other one. Here's the other one.
Yes.
Hey, Savannah, how you doing?
Well, it's hard to describe the feeling of finally being on the road. After 7 years of dreaming about it and planning it and boring our friends silly about it, we've got a year and a half of open road and adventure in front of us. All we need now is for the car to keep going and we'll be okay.
Good luck to them. It's going to be a hell of a challenge, but if ever any two are going to do it, I think it's going to be these two.
Okay, well, we're 2 hours down the road and already we've encountered our first problem. The radiator's overheating, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. The Snowy Mountains are just a few hours drive out of Melbourne, so we're going to head there first to give the girls their first real taste of snow.
Making an angel. Daddy's too busy making snowballs, sweetie. Yeah. Did you make some soup?
We're just taking advantage of the trough in the laundry here to give Sarah a bath. You enjoying that? We're getting rid of all that snow?
We'll put you in the dryer after this, it's big enough.
Well, sadly our radiator problem hasn't sorted itself out and it's actually overheated a couple more times since we've been here. Maybe the radiator's the problem, but it could also be something more serious like a cracked head. Before we head off into the outback, I'm going to get it fixed properly. So even though we've only left Melbourne a few days ago, we're going to turn around and head back and get it sorted. I think it's going to take us quite a while to pack up our camp, So I'm going to film it so we can compare it from now to a year from now and see how much better we are. We're picking up my mum in Brisbane in a few weeks and she's coming with us back to Melbourne, so somehow we have to get her and her bags in here as well.
We'll have to figure that out a bit better, won't we?
Yeah, so Nana can fit in.
Yeah, we've got to fit Nana in yet, haven't we? Oh my gosh. I don't know how that's going to happen.
I was really worried that the engine had a cracked head, but it turns out that the radiator's about 30% blocked. So we're upgrading to a bigger one and hopefully that'll fix the problem. And we're back on the road and ready to pick up where we left off. As luck would have it, we've arrived in Swan Hill at the same time as the annual show, so of course we have to check it out. The show runs over 2 days every year and it's been going since 1895. There's a definite competitive angle to these shows. There's everything from cattle to wood chopping and show jumping, and of course plenty of new toys for the farmers to spend their money on. For our kids though, it's more about the rides and the ice cream of course. It's also a chance for them to have some animal encounters. We found this tent called Snake Busters where we can get up close and personal with a couple of pythons. You've got a snake necklace, Savannah. This probably won't be the last snake we find in our trip. We camped on the banks of the Murray River, which is Australia's largest river, running west from the Snowy Mountains, across the top of Victoria, then south down into the sea in South Australia. For most of its length, it's actually the state border between Victoria on this side and New South Wales across the other side. Today we're heading out to Mungo National Park, which is about 250 kilometres north of here in New South Wales. Want some toast, bub? But before that we have to get this camp packed up. Before we left we thought long and hard about what gear to bring with us, and having 2 kids as well means there's a lot of extra kit. The reality for us now though is that we have to manage all this gear, and pack up days are becoming hard work. Our first pack up at Bright took 4 hours.
Way too much food.
Today we're going to be lucky to get out of here under 3.
Ta-da!
It'd be great to get that down to about an hour. I think we'll be offloading a lot of stuff when we get back to Melbourne at Christmas. This is the bit where the camera crew comes and helps the tent packer-upper. Number plate holder has come off the tailgate. A couple of guys here are going to give us a hand. One's got a drill and one's got some self-tappers.
So we're in the hole, mate? I think so. Yep. That won't move. Yeah, right. We'll give a demonstration. Yeah. She won't come off now, I tell you.
You lift the whole trailer up on that.
Yeah, that's right. Now that's where if you've got a flat tyre, you jack that up on a number plate.
Thanks, fellas. Much appreciated.
All the best.
No worries.
Thank you very much.
Travel safe. Have a good holiday.
We will. Thanks very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have that too.
Oh, yeah, right.
One thing I'll be adding to the toolbox is a cordless drill. They do come in handy. Once we cross the Murray River into New South Wales, we start heading into the real outback, with a lot less people and a lot more flies. I really wanted to come out to Mungo National Park because they found evidence of Aboriginal life going back over 40,000 years. Lake Mungo is actually part of the ancient Willandra Lakes system, which dried up around 15,000 years ago after the last ice age. From above you can see where the lake beds were, but today they're flat expanses of saltbush. It's actually the eroded banks of the lakes that are gradually revealing clues to the Aboriginal tribes that have lived here.
And you can see them, how they just erode out like that, and once they erode out they get kicked around, and you can see a few scattered over there and that.
We're out here at a site where a geologist named Jim Bowler discovered a skeleton of a man back in 1974. It's been estimated to be between 40 and 42,000 years old. It's known as Mungo Man. The rangers are the descendants of the original people that lived here, and they're the caretakers of this region.
And all the mussel shells out here are around about that size.
Walking around this area, you get this sense of trespassing on history. There's literally bones and shell fossils everywhere you look. The word Mungo actually means meeting place, and the area here is shared by 3 Aboriginal tribes, the Muddy Muddy, Puckenji and Nyimpa. As the sun sets, the best place to be is out here on the eastern edge of Lake Mungo, at what they call the Wall of China. Tonight we're watching the sunset over the Wall of China, which is probably the most well-known aspect of this park. As you can see right now, the sun's coming out just to give us that grand finale. We didn't think we were going to get it for a while there because the clouds were covering the sun, but just come into play just at the right moment. It's easy to sit here on the banks of what was Lake Mungo 15,000 years ago and beyond and imagine what it was like to live here. It's almost like being on a beach, and yet you're in the outback. As we leave Mungo and continue north, the skies have opened up and it's pretty much rain all the way. Fossils aren't the only things they find in the ground in outback New South Wales. We're heading up to Lightning Ridge to find out more about opal mining. But not before fixing our first flat tyre. It's always made more fun when you've been driving through the mud for 2 days.
It doesn't look too flat at the moment because we just put it up and it's on its way down again. So we have decided to stop and repair. Steve's loving this really because he's getting a chance to play with all of his gadgets. He's in man heaven.
There you go. You can actually hear the hole in the tyre. Right there. Lightning Ridge is a town that exists only because of that elusive gemstone, the opal. We've jumped on board the Black Opal tour bus to get a better idea of what makes this little mining town tick.
Girls, you want a fly swatter? The flies are terrible.
Opal mining is still the domain of the independent one-man band miner. And today, as it's been here for over 100 years, the only way to find opals is to stake your claim and start digging. We can't resist the urge to get out and have a fossick. You just never know your luck.
See, that's low-grade opal. See that? When you get home, you can put them in a little bottle of water.
I'm going to leave the girls to it and go down and check out this mine. Hello!
On an 8 step, took me 6 months to dig these. Oh, yeah. And this is hand dug probably 70 or 80 years ago, and you can see where the footmarks in the wall there, where they used to, they used to climb up and down these in the old days.
Is cave-ins an issue?
This mine's a pretty good. I've never had any problem here because we're working on my own. Yeah. I'm a bit careful. Dig around it and knock it out, and that's a little piece of material there, look. And shouldn't really crack them with a pick like that because sometimes they've got colour. I know it's just a bit of potch, look. Yeah. All you can do is dig. That's the thing with opal. There's no physical or mechanical or electronic way you can actually find opal, you know.
There's not like a gold which might follow a seam.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, although the price might be a bit lower than it used to be, if you find quality, there's always a market for it.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is sort of just me little playroom. I just come here and do bits and bobs.
It's your artistic outlet.
Yeah, that's right. If I can get some entrepreneur in later years who's going to spend 100 grand to buy this as a tourist thing, then it'll be a good sort of an investment, if you like.
Exactly.
Yeah. And this is going to be the Egyptian room.
Good quality opals are cut and polished up on one of these sanders and made into jewellery.
This is the black opal and this is the crystal opal.
The black opal is the rarest and most expensive and highly sought after around the world.
His prize teeth. You said the prize.
If we had more time, I'd love to have a crack at opal mining, but for now we have to get to Brisbane to meet my mum at the airport. She's flying in from Adelaide and going to travel with us for a couple of months. Well, we had a beautifully executed plan to go to pick up my mum at the airport, and we had 20 minutes up our sleeve. We've been stuck on the M1 motorway for the last half an hour, and if you have a look over there now, you'll see what the cause of the drama is. out your window there. We're not having much luck with the rain. Since leaving Lightning Ridge, we've been battling the weather all the way. We've just been told by the ranger that there's a severe thunderstorm on the way, so we're going to tie down the camper and make sure it doesn't blow away. We stopped in at Girraween National Park where a huge storm front came across. Then we moved on to the Gold Coast where it's rained solidly for the last week. Poor Mum must be wondering what she's gotten herself into. As we've travelled south, the rain's eased up, but it's been replaced by the wind. All of this is a great test for our camper trailer, which apart from a few minor leaks has held up pretty well. I bought this huge tarp, and with the help of about a dozen poles, ropes and ocky straps, it's able to keep all of the weather out. We're 6 weeks into the trip now, and the girls have adapted to the travelling lifestyle really well. About the only side effect is that they spend so much time playing and running around that by the end of the day they're exhausted. Not that that's a bad thing.
How's it going there?
Now that the weather's settled down, we managed to get out for a ride on our bikes for the first time.
Yeah, they're racing now.
You made it!
You made it.
One little girl there.
A couple of thousand calories burned.
Oh, shut up. Where's the other little girl? There she is.
And we even got the boat out to try some fishing. Not that we caught anything. It's also given me a chance to reorganise some of our gear. Our boat motor is currently strapped to the board across the drawbar, but it's picking up a lot of mud from dirt roads, so I'm going to need to find a better way of storing it. I haven't managed to convince Jen to offload any clothes yet. Her bag still weighs about as much as the rest of ours put together. I'll keep working on that between now and Christmas. It's now 7 weeks till we're back in Melbourne for Christmas. A couple of days after Christmas, we'll be hitting the road again for our 1-year big lap ride around Australia. With so much weight on board, the back of the Land Cruiser has been sagging when it's hooked up to the camper trailer. So we stopped in at out-of-town four-wheel drive in Newcastle to have some heavier springs installed. These guys also make the Long Ranger fuel tanks like the one we had fitted before we left. So while we're here, let's have a tour of the factory and see how they're made. The tanks are designed for each individual vehicle to use as much of the available space as possible. You can see how neatly this 166 litre tank fits under our cruiser. With so much stuff being made in China these days, it's just great to see products like this still being made in Australia. So with the new springs fitted and the back of the cruiser a couple of inches higher, Fred, Peter and the boys are taking us out to the famous Stockton Beach, which is just outside of Newcastle. I've been looking forward to visiting Stockton for years. It's got a reputation for being a four-wheel driver's paradise, and we're about to find out.
These tyre deflators here, you can set the exact pressure you want your tyre to go down to and it just lets it down automatically. So we're going to try 16 pounds and see how that goes.
That's what you've got to look for in a tyre, mate. See how the tyre is bulged on the side?
Yep.
Not only is it wide, it's longer. So that's the type of thing you have to look for to go on sand.
What is sand, Daddy?
We'll see it soon, Dale.
Yeah, it's all good, mate. It's amazing the difference the tyre pressure makes. I'm looking at this stuff thinking I'm bugging, but we just seem to float over the top. It's beautiful.
Yeah, a little bit of a momentum here now until we get up on top of this ridge here.
This is slightly more terrifying than what it looks.
Oh no! Be careful coming over this little bit. A little bit of brake just as you come over that bit there, mate. Push a little bit of sand in front of your wheels as the idea, and then that stops at the bottom. Kids are happy, I think.
It's better than Seawell.
It's a wonderful beach. You've just got to treat it with respect. I mean, it's just so dangerous till you know where everything is, and you just got to be careful. The little 4-foot ones catch you out more than the big ones.
This beach is unbelievable. Apparently a lot of TV commercials are filmed here, and it's easy to see why.
Things on it.
So how long have you been there?
74 it went down. Here it is now with the stern on and half of it missing here. Here it is broken. They got a lot of stuff off it. For years they had all sorts of things on it. These are some of the higher dunes and that sort of thing that you can come down over. This one here is quite exciting.
Coming down the dunes is one thing, but getting back up is a whole nother story. Come on Fred, show us how it's done. Okay, it's our turn now. Giving it plenty of welly. Too easy. Not a bad way to spend a day. After the fun of Stockton Beach, we've kept travelling south through Sydney and Canberra and made it here to Kosciuszko National Park, which is on the other side of the Snowy Mountains from where our trip began. We're going to stop here for a while and get out and explore the mountains before heading back to Melbourne for Christmas. We're also hoping to be able to climb Mount Kosciuszko while we're here, which will be the first of our extreme challenges completed. Although the weather forecast further up the mountain is looking pretty bleak. Today we're heading out to check out an area called G-High and give Jen an opportunity to get some full driving practice. Nothing like a nice water crossing to break the ice. She made that look so easy, but let's see it again from inside of the car.
Okay, we're going. Well, I'm bombing out the window.
That last one was nice practice, but now it's time for a real water crossing.
Wide. It's only just wider than the other one.
It's the same depth all the way over.
Well, you can see the bottom all the way over. That's a pretty good indication. The fact it's not too very deep. You should be out here. I can see that the water is only about knee deep. It's a bit of a current though, that's a major issue because it's going to be pulling at the car a bit. So when you're going across a river like that, what do you think might happen?
I think the car might turn over on its side.
Because it's lurching around so much?
Yeah, so it's like it's going to the left or to the right and you're thinking it's going to keep going. I'm never trusting you again. That was awful.
A few big holes there, wasn't there?
A few. I lost steering several times. I was like, ah! Mummy did good driving?
Mummy, bigger car.
Good.
Want to go back and have another go?
No, that was it. That's it.
I couldn't convince her to have another go, so we found a nice spot for lunch instead.
We're having baked bean toasties today. It's called making do with what's in the pantry.
How's that?
Perfect.
Look. Oh, yummy.
Billy's boiling too, how about that?
Fantastic. There you go. Good girl. Yeah, got that?
I don't.
You do it.
the water now. You've just taken the whole thing up. Alright, now stay there in the cold for another 5 minutes. No.
Today's going to be a good test for Savannah though, because her and I are going to go out on an overnight hike, and the weather forecast is for rain, rain and more rain, so it should be a nice little adventure.
All pack ready?
Bye bye, Mummy.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye, Nana.
Love you.
Bye bye, sweetheart. Have fun.
Well, Sarah, she wants to come too, but she's a bit young, isn't she?
Yeah.
When she's a bit bigger, she can come too.
Yeah. And this, the three of us can go.
Yeah. Well, we might need a bigger tent then.
Yeah. Bye bye, Sarah.
We're only going a few kilometres down this track, but it'll be a good experience for her, and me too, of course.
That's okay for
We'll find a nice spot to set up camp for the night.
Yeah, this for the night, and you'll come back.
Yeah. Well, we're here and we've managed to set our tent up, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the tiniest tent in the world. Shall we see how big it is?
Yeah.
That's it. There's lots of mozzies here, and it's raining. So I don't know that we're going to be able to cook anything yet. We'll have to wait and see if the rain stops, because we can't cook in the tent, can we?
No, the tent might catch on fire.
That's right. So if the rain stops, we'll cook some dinner. Otherwise, we're just going to be having a cold dinner tonight.
Oh, yuck.
The rain stopped, so I've got the stove outside. We'll get some flame going and we might be able to actually have a hot dinner.
A warm dinner, I think. Dad, why's there dried up banana?
Because that's yummy stuff.
What's in here, Daddy?
That's our dinner there. Hold it up, see? It's pasta vegetariano. Sounds pretty bland and boring, doesn't it? How's your pasta, Dale?
Yum.
Spoiling the billy out there, eh? So how do you think we'll sleep tonight in this cosy little tent? Alright? The most important camping food there is, isn't it?
Most dessert, yummy thing in the whole world.
What are you going to have with it, a Milo? And have a cup of tea. Good morning, Savannah.
Good morning, Daddy.
You sleep okay?
Yes?
Did you hear the thunder and lightning?
No.
I did. There was thunder and lightning all night.
Was there?
Yeah.
I only heard one thunder.
Everything's soaking wet outside, but we're dry enough. How's the tent unpacking going?
Good.
How good is that?
Yeah.
Hello, sweetheart.
Was it a bit wet and rainy last night? Was it windy?
Yeah.
It was very windy here.
Mission accomplished.
Have fun.
Yeah. Savannah returned.
Well, Savannah had a great night, but I think she's glad to be back. We're on the last kilometre of the trip now. It's very cold, very windy.
And go!
The car that just fell over.
Oh my God, I've killed my babies.
At this point, the insurance company said, well, that's it, it's a write-off.
So the tow bar, the trailer's bouncing around, it's upside down, and eventually it managed to turn your car over.
Just said, Steve, I've done it. I've absolutely stuffed it. I'm really sorry. I'm so sorry.